Hey everybody, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching today. So I'm going to show you how to use your reveal wheel mechanism with the overlay dies. So there's this one here. This is the Out in Space overlay die, and this was a card that I made. Then you've got the Whatever the Weather. You can see this lovely starburst effect, and I'll show you the dies in a moment. This is actually the one I'm going to show you how to make today. So I've got a little bit of a 3D element here, and then you've got the plants overlay die, and then here's another idea with the overlay dies, and I've made this one into a shaker card. Really nice effect, and you can also use them on their own, and you can make easel cards or just have them decorated on the top of a card like this one here. So there's lots of ways to use these dies, so let me show you how. So first of all, we're going to get the overlay all ready. So I've already die cut this one. I'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a moment. There are 3 overlays in this release. So you've got the Out in Space, which is this one here with the planets. And you would have seen how that looked in the cards that I shared earlier. And then you've got the corners there. All of them come with the outer die and then the detail die as well. And then this one is like the starburst for the Whatever the Weather. And you can see here you've got your different seasons for each corner. So your spring, summer, autumn and winter. And again, you would have seen some of the examples. But we're going to focus on the plants one today. And that's how it looks when you get it. So I've already gone ahead and cut this one out. So to get it as a solid piece like this, you just die cut your frame and your detail together. So if you were to just run that through your cardstock, it would cut all of this detail out in the card. So if you wanted it to be a square shape, so for example, like this one here, that's what I did. So I cut my square, which was about 5 3/4 squared, and I just sat that down in the middle, ran it through my die machine, and then I popped the corners down as well. That's what gives you that effect. But to have it then as a separate piece like this, you just run it through with this as well. Now you can just die cut that first and then sit this over the top, or if you just pop both of them together until you've got a nice equal frame, and then just pop a little bit of tape, and then you can pop that through and you'll get to this here. So what I thought I would do with this one is ink it up using all these different green tones. I want it to be quite dark really, because I'm going to pop this against a white cardstock, so then you get to see all of the detail. So I've just chosen the greens that I've got here. There are some others, but these are like the darker of all of those Distress Oxide greens. So I've got the Mowed Lawn, Rustic Wilderness, Lucky Clover, Forest Moss and Pine Needles. I'm just going to pop it on high speed now, just some very easy ink blending. I'm going to do just lots of kind of like dots really of all the colours and just blend them all together. So that's that piece all inked up, and now you'll see when I pop it against the white, it really does stand out. So I've just die cut this piece here, and this is using the dies in the reveal wheel. So this is how it looks. This is a 6x6 mechanism reveal wheel, and you get 5 dies. So you get your outline die, you get your main panel, which is this one here. So you want to die cut that one, and you get your wheel on the back, and then you've got your disc here to help it spin. And this is then your aperture, your pie piece to create the area for you to see what you've stamped behind it. So die cut that in whatever colour you want, and this is a standalone die set, so it will work with anything you have in your own stash, because a lot of people like to buy just the mechanism dies and then use them with what they already have. So with these overlay dies, like I said, we didn't want them to be just for the reveal wheel, because if we'd done that, we'd have to have a little finger pull cut out here, and it just really limits the die. So we decided to keep them as solid discs, so that then you can make easel cards like I showed at the beginning. You can just have them as a nice decorative topper. You can just do a lot more with it. So when you stick this one down, you want to decide where you're going to have, you know, kind of which images you want at the top and at the bottom, and also where you want your piece to cut. So you can have it cut in between, but then it means one of these is obviously not directly at the top or at the bottom, because they've been designed so that they will, when you cut this, it will cut it out perfectly. So you want to have one of these right at the top or at the bottom, depending on where you're cutting it. So then you'll see it's going to remove some of the image. So you want to just think about which one. This one it works quite well with, because it will just remove that bottom bit there, and you've still got all that will stick down. But I actually like using this one here, because it only takes the bottom of the pot, so it keeps the 2 stripes in. So I'm going to stick mine down like so. So you'll see I have this one at the top, this one at the bottom. So then when I go to die cut this piece, I can remove that piece there perfectly. but it is up to you. It will cut any one. So I'm going to stick this one down first, and I'm going to use the Calcott glue, I think, for this one, because this is going to make everything nice and hard. So I'm just going to put my glue in between the images there and all the way around the edge. You just want to make sure you've got an equal amount overhanging on the sides there. Just give that a minute to dry. Okay, so now that's all secure, we want to now die cut it again using that original die, because we need to create the hole again in the middle, and also we need to cut this little piece away here. So if you just sit this back in, it will just slot back in together like so. Pop a little bit of tape on there if you're worried it might shift, because you don't want to ruin all that work you've done, but just run that through so it creates the hole there and snips that piece away. Okay, so that's all come away there. So we've got this piece, and that's how you use the reveal wheel on this mechanism piece. So now we need to die cut the aperture. So you can have this anywhere you want. It will die cut obviously each of these perfectly, as you can see there, by just lining up that one in the circle. It's going to cut that out, but you might want to cut it at the bottom. On the left, you could have this reveal wheel piece on the bottom here, the, you know, where you spin it. So then you cut that one, but I'm going to do a separate video where I show you how to expand this opening so you can have, you know, other things, other dies that you might have, bigger sentiments and things like that. So I've got some tape, and you want to make sure that you, sometimes when you run the dies through, they might curl, because it's just what happens with the pressure of your die machines. So sometimes you might just want to reshape it, make sure it's nice and flat. But I'm going to lock that piece in there, keep that nice and straight, and then I'm going to add my tape inside this section here like so, and now I'm going to run that through my die machine. So now there we go, that piece just pops straight out. I mean, you could use that for something. It's a perfect little shape there with that flower pot. So that's now all ready for us to stick on top of our card blank once we've decorated the reveal wheel. So next you want to die cut one of these. That's using this larger die here, okay, and then you're going to sit this behind here, line up that circle in the middle, and then you just want to, I like to start to draw all the sections in where I know I can stamp my image. If it's a larger section, then I wouldn't worry too much. What I would maybe suggest is just doing this outer line here all the way around, so you know not to go over that section there. But I'm just going to lightly draw like so, and then I like to flip it around, find that pencil like the point, and then again do that one there, and then I like to do 2 more, and then just having to do this the 4 times, but it will give you your 8 sections then. And again, it just keeps me on track, so I know I'm keeping everything where it needs to be. So now we've got these 8 sections, but it doesn't matter if you overlap these. The space theme's actually really nice to kind of have the, you know, the astronaut and everything kind of just all floating. So as you turn it, it's just almost like one scene. Whereas with the plants, because they're all individual and they kind of, you know, they stand alone on their own, it's quite nice to keep them within these parts here. But also the whatever the weather one as well, it's another one, because you've got like the wind, and you've got all the seasons like the rainfall and stuff. So again, it looks quite nice to create more of a flowing scene. So I've got the plants here, and I'm going to have I'm trying to think if I'm going to have a sentiment on the front, or I'm just going to keep it inside here. I think I might have a small, maybe with a little planter, maybe another plant there, I'm not sure. Also, if I just quickly go back to this one here, you can cut these as well as the overlay. Cut them in each corner, because you'll see they fit in there, even, you know, they're designed to all fit together. But what I would then suggest is that you cut this piece again in a colour that's going to match, and put it behind, and cut this piece out, because obviously if you cut that, you're going to see through it, and we add foam in the corners here, so you would see that through. So I would recommend backing it with a colour, and then you can obviously add your foam, but it all does work really nicely together, as you can see on that one there. So I think I might have this. Let's see what other cards I've got here. I do love the home is where the plant is sentiment, but I also like be the person who decided to grow for it. Okay, and then you can stamp everything else. I'm not going to use the stamp platform for everything. I just want the sentiment nice and crisp. But you must remember, if you've got your aperture at the top here, then you've got to stamp and then turn, stamp and turn. Don't go ahead and, you know, stamp that one straight down there, because as you turn it, it's then going to be upside down. So just make sure you stamp and turn, and then you'll have everything the right way up. But I'm going to get the rest of these images all stamped out. I might have another sentiment here, or I might keep the rooting for you on the front, and I'm going to colour it all in. Again, I'm going to pop that on high speed, and then we can just put the card together. So that's everything stamped and coloured, and I've also cut this piece here using the square that comes in the set. I've also cut a tiny little arrow here, so you've got your die just there, which will die cut the stamp as well if you want to. I just keep it on its own, so I'm going to put it against that green. It does stand out really well. I've also got myself a 6x6 card blank, or you can make it from a piece of 12x6 and score it 6 inches. So I'm going to stick this one first of all onto here. Then you want a brad. I think I'm going to go for, got quite a light green here. Yeah, I might go for this colour. I think it's going to work, or maybe that one actually, because it's going to work well with the lighter green in this card here. So these are the 8mm brads or split pins, which is your stationery size. That's your most common size that you'll find. I'll link them in the description box below. So a little tip with these is when you get them, you'll see they're kind of already squashed together. If you open them up, so just pull them apart so they're thicker like this. You see we've got that gap now. Pop that through the middle there. It kind of pops in, but can you see it's nice and open on the back. Then pop it through your wheel. And then you want to take the disc there and pop that one through. And then when you open it up, you'll see you've got a nice gap in there. And then I just like to push it down like so. And now you've got a really nice spin. Then I've got my card here, so I'm just going to pop some foam in the middle to stop the card dipping, and then on each corner. Make sure you don't stick anything on the wheel. The wheel needs to move freely within that section there. So again on that corner, and then on this one here. You can pop a few more on that disc as well if you want, but the one in the middle I find enough. And I'm just going to take the backing off of all of these, and then this one's going to be a side fold. So make sure this is the right way up, and you'll have a nice even frame like so. And the wheel will be slightly lifted there. I can get my nail underneath, but it just makes it really easy to spin. And you'll see now it reveals all of those different images. So I keep the sentiment at the front. And then I thought with this one it'd be quite nice to use some of the leaves here from my swing collection. So if you've got that one, or things like this will work for many, different house plants. So I've also cut this one here, and I've stamped and just die cut rooting for you. And I've also die cut a little arrow, which comes with all the stamp sets. You get the arrow and you get the actual stamp of the arrow there as well, and the turn here. Because I've got quite a dark green here, I'm not going to stamp the turn here, but on some of the other samples, and you can see all them closer up on my Facebook page, I've stamped the turn here as well. But you've got all that there, so they come as a combo together. So I'm going to just add a little bit of glue onto the side here. And just sit that arrow just next to it. You can see that just fits perfectly into that space. And then with these, I just wanted to kind of hide this one and this one. with the leaves, and I'm going to add a little bit of shape to them as well, and just start kind of arranging them. I've kept with the colours that are in the inky background there, and then this lighter colour I think is just a nice contrast against the two, but just something to help it all pop. And then where it all joins, I'm going to have the rooting for you, and I might add this, I'm not sure. I thought it would look quite nice just down there as well. We'll see, but I'm going to pop it on high speed and get that all stuck down. So that's everything stuck down. I love this little cluster. I think it's a really nice, you know, detail. It's the first time I've done this with the reveal wheel, so hopefully it gives some of you that have already got it some more inspiration. And like I said in all the demos, and when, you know, when I launched this, you really can have anything you want in here. So, you know, combined these stamps with other ones that you might have, and I think it'd look great with some little characters in here. I shared the Fun at the Fair, the small critters that I had in that release. They fit perfectly in here. So there's lots and lots of scope for this one, but I think that looks like a really nice card, perfect, you know, for an encouragement card. Someone maybe is going for their first interview after, you know, finishing college and university and things like that. I think it's lovely, especially if they like plants as well. So there you have it. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial showing you an idea on how to use the overlays. You know, in the coming months and during Facebook Lives and all sorts, I will show more ways to use the overlays as well. But for now, hopefully that just helps those out that have got them. And yeah, you enjoy using them. So as always, I will link the product that I've used today in the description box below. And I'll have a couple of videos popping up now showing you the Out in Space one. You'll see that there. And I'll also link the launch video. So if you want to see that one and all of the samples, because there's tons. And like I said, I have got all the photos of those over on my Facebook page, which you can also find linked below. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again very soon with more tutorials. Bye.